Do our thoughts truly influence reality, or is it merely psychology and coincidence? I have always felt that my consciousness operates differently. Even as a young person, I was able to immerse myself in a world of my own emotions, imagery, and states of being. Experiences that offered me peace, solace, and the sense that I could shape my own energy in the version of myself I aspired to become. Over time, things began to happen that I could not logically explain. Situations, conversations, and events would manifest in my life exactly as I had previously envisioned them. On this channel, I will share my own experiences, analyze the concepts of manifestation, consciousness, and psychology, and explore the stories of others who have encountered similar phenomena. I want to understand what manifestation truly is. Is it the power of the subconscious, energy, a mere coincidence, or perhaps something we still lack the means to explain? The more I observe my own experiences, the more I feel that human consciousness is something far more complex than we currently imagine. Perhaps manifestation is not about magical thinking, but rather about the conscious programming of one's own mind, emotions, and actions. So, how does one program their mind to begin attracting and drawing out from reality the very things we truly desire? Let's assume, for instance, that I wish to manifest self-confidence. Most people envision manifestation as nothing more than repeating affirmations or simply thinking about what they want. But perhaps the true process begins at a much deeper level. If, day after day, I observe my own thoughts and notice that I am constantly criticizing myself internally, comparing myself to others, or subconsciously feeling inferior, it is precisely this state that is programming my mind and my reactions. But what happens when I begin to consciously influence my own imagination and emotions? When I regularly start imagining myself as a calm, self-assured person who recognizes their own worth, my mind slowly begins to internalize this state as something natural. The body, too, responds to the imagination. My gaze changes, as do my tone of voice, muscle tension, energy, and emotional responses. And that is precisely when I begin to wonder, could manifestation be a process of consciously influencing one's own psyche, emotions, and perception of reality? And what happens when we attempt to manifest something that evokes very intense emotions within us, such as love? That is precisely when observing our own thoughts becomes paramount. For when we begin to truly desire another person, automatic patterns, ones we hadn't even noticed before, are very often triggered within us. For perhaps it is not merely about attracting love. Perhaps it is about understanding our own emotions, fears, and subconscious patterns that influence our relationships far more than we realize. And when we begin to consciously observe, we slowly begin to change the very way we experience reality. I believe this is precisely where the most subtle difference emerges between calm, conscious manifestation and an emotional losing of oneself in one's own desires. For when we manifest something from a place of fear, lack, and an obsessive need for control, our mind begins to operate in chaos. Tension arises, along with overthinking and a constant waiting for a sign, a message, or some form of validation. And that is when it becomes very easy to lose touch with oneself. That is why I increasingly feel that true manifestation may actually begin with a sense of calm. From the moment we are able to observe our own emotions, yet refuse to let them completely take over our minds. For perhaps it is not about desperately trying to pull something toward us, but rather about entering a state in which we already feel internally complete. I increasingly sense that the key element of manifestation may, in fact, be this very state of calm. After all, many manifestation techniques are based on visualizing reality as if it had already come to pass. As if the very things we desire were already an integral part of our lives. And that is precisely when I notice something quite fascinating. When we are truly able to enter this state, devoid of panicked anticipation, fear, or emotional chaos, our mind begins to function differently. A greater sense of calm emerges, greater certainty, less desperation and internal tension. That is why I increasingly find myself wondering whether manifestation might, in part, be about teaching the mind and body a new emotional state. A state in which we feel internally